All right. Here with Cora on the very first episode of After the Show. We're going to be breaking down the Black Mirror. So is Black Mirror a Netflix original?
It is.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I couldn't really tell. I was looking up
I
some
think
stuff
so.
about it. I thought it was too.
It says Netflix at the top of it, which...
Be sure to get the mic super close. We're still figuring out our audio, so I think that we've got the best audio down for now, but we're always getting better. And this is an audio only podcast for After the Show. So I have some notes here over the Black Mirror to share. Get those pulled up. I've been working on my I'm gonna do a solo podcast on my first episode of 1968 Unraveled, History Unraveled, where I'm gonna be talking about LBJ's address, State of the Union address, and kind of some of his other programs he was trying to push at the time. It's gonna be good. I'm excited. So, what if you were telling somebody what Black Mirror is? How would you describe it?
I mean, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is every time I think about it, it's kind of futuristic, but near futuristic.
Yeah, for sure.
Not
totally
like,
agree.
yeah. Kind of twisted, futuristic, technological, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it depicts what the future could look like. I think that's what they're trying to do with the spin on the Black Mirror, is you're looking into a possible future where certain technologies have really spun society in a certain direction. And that's what I feel like every episode like highlights that in a way. Even so, like that for the first episode is the reason that I didn't get into the show like 2 years ago, because you were watching it and I was asleep, and I woke up and there was a guy having sex with a pig, and it was very disturbing, and I just didn't get it, and then I came back and I actually watched that episode a couple of days ago, and it was pretty good. But
and just so the audience knows, I got relentless shit over what I was watching that day, because that is a very terrible thing to wake up to from a nap and watch your wife watching this man having sex with a pig.
Yeah.
And I never thought when I started that series that was going to happen.
I mean, how are you going to come at an audience with that as the first episode? But like, so little background on that episode with the kidnapping of the lady, and then they like act like they cut her finger off. She's like, what, a princess, royalty.
Yeah.
So they're always playing on, I'd say like at least one episode a season they play on politics pretty hard. Mm-hmm. So this one they let out with politics. And what was it like? Was it the prime minister that had to hook up with the pig on TV? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it was super disturbing.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it was the prime minister.
Yeah, so that happens, but it's all like done by like, isn't like an artist who's like actually cut his own finger off and acted like it was the princess's finger.
Well, I didn't get to finish that episode because you woke up and interrupted that episode.
Well, so just to give you the end game, and you should go back and rewatch it or whatever, maybe, or maybe not. It's super sad because like it goes like a year after that guy does that, but they found the princess like 30 minutes before he went on air. Yeah. Yeah. So like it was all yeah. And then the guy, the artist who'd kidnapped the princess, cut off his own finger, like hangs himself. And it's just like a big like political statement, I guess you could say, which they didn't go into what like, I don't really remember what the disagreement was with the parliament or a policy or a certain politician with why she was kidnapped and what his agenda was, but super disturbing.
See, and that's the thing is season 1 only has 3 episodes. And this is the deal with that, is if you're able to make it through the first episode and make it through the pig scene, you will be caught up in this emotional just ride and feeling a lot of empathy for these characters. Like, I didn't know that they found the princess 30 minutes before he went on air. And that makes me so sad for that guy, because that's such a humiliating, terrible, worst nightmare ever thing to ever have to do.
And then they're like talking about it a year later, and his wife like walks up the stairs, and he's like, "Oh, hey, but please, dear, no."
It's so sad.
They play on like shame a lot.
Definitely,
like social shame.
A lot of social shame goes on in these in this series, and that, like I said, back to this season 1 only having 3 episodes, is you get caught up. It seemed like so much longer than just 3 episodes, because you get caught up in these people's personal lives.
Well, not all the episodes too are just like 45 minutes long.
Yes, I believe like one of the episodes was like an hour and 30 minutes long in like season 2 or something.
I think that was the special, the White
Christmas. Yeah.
So that was called National Anthem. First episode, National Anthem. Maybe the most disturbing episode. But so and really, I don't feel like, other than like they play on like terrorism with the kidnapping and the demands, and that seemed to be the angle they were working, was like terroristic act. But I feel like they didn't really like give you like all the futuristic stuff that's like I find to be the most interesting about the show. Which like, so episode 2 is like a total alternate reality, and all of this is set in Europe, to my knowledge, and maybe Great Britain only. I don't really know. They don't go into like really specific location names that I picked up on watching these episodes just one time each or whatever. But the second episode where the 15 million merits, where they have the bike pedaling technology,
the avatars.
Yes, super weird. I had I was like trying to figure that episode out, and then this is like maybe like almost like it had like a Divergent feel to it.
It did have a Divergent feel,
where it's like I wonder what the rest of society looks like.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't play off of that too, and also do some kind of alternate places like that in different future episodes.
Well, I kind of feel like they did. In let's see, which one was it? I think it was season 3, Men Against Fire, where they had like the roaches.
I don't think that was an alternate. Well, I guess that's a military sect.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I definitely had some comments on that one, because that was like one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, we'll save that for later.
I just went back and watched it, so we'll go in order by season or series.
So with this being the second episode, once again, super emotionally, like, I just feel so bad for these characters. Like that. Okay, so you earn these merits, and you can spend these merits on your food.
It's like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Virtual.
Like
it's like a virtual currency, and you ride your bike, and the bike powers like all of society, like all of the grid or whatever, and then you get paid per, like, I guess, hour that you ride the bike to power all of everything that's going on. Your avatar and everything.
You live in a little cell type thing. Okay, so what confused me the most about that is, why are they forcing them to watch porn? Did you notice the only way?
Yeah, you had to spend your credits to get. I think it's just like an ad.
I know.
Well,
but
that's like
dang.
I know. I think that like in that reality, like they're depicting like, because you remember, so like the 15 million merits, like this guy has this crush on this girl, and then there's like, you kind of see some annoying people around, like you can connect with like 2 or 3 other characters in the episode that they kind of play on, like the girl that likes him, that you kind of feel bad for because he likes the other girl, and he spends all of his money so she can go be on like their version, like America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent or whatever it is, where these like 3 people like put you up there, and what she goes in to sing this weird song that they play on in every season. What she said it called? It's called Anyone.
Anyone who knows what love is.
Yeah, so they play on that like in several different episodes, at least 3 that I remember. But and then the special. So
in every season.
I guess 4 total times. But I thought it was a weird little worker society with the bike pedaling, and when they go to this little thing, like he he goes with her, and she does this thing, and they just kind of humiliate her, like publicly shame her, and like offer her a spot on like a porn feed or something.
Yeah, they say that, there's enough singers in the world, but you're pretty, so you should be on our porn site. Porn videos.
Yeah, so and they like don't they get so they give you this thing to like make you more agreeable, right? Mm-hmm. So they get you out there and they drug you up. So
so you'll agree to whatever they propose for you.
Yeah, so then the guy that had the crush on her that spent the money, he kept the container. That apparently, like, you can't have any like propaganda laying around like that. Like he like hid that.
You basically can't have any property.
Yeah, exactly. What she made him like a little origami thing, and it like got taken away. So they control. I guess there's like a big element of governmental control or social control in some way for whatever reason. That's what I like. They don't really go into it a whole lot, so they leave you like your room to use your imagination, and I kind of dig that because it's like it's not just the same narrative or society that's depicted in like all your sitcoms. So
well, and I guess we didn't even say this about Black Mirror though, but every episode is kind of connected, but totally different storylines. There's not like
it's
a
like
running...
it's weird. It's like a universe, I guess, but it's all alternate realities, but there's like some similar threads that bind it all together, for sure. So the guy, she gets rushed off to be on the porn channel thing, streams, I think they call them.
Yeah, and he spent all of his money.
So he starts working overtime on the bike and like earns the 15 million merits, and he goes on there and he has this like piece of glass. How did he get that piece of glass?
They didn't really go into that.
And then he takes the little thing, and they try and give him the thing to make him more agreeable. He's like, "Oh, I already drank it," and but he's not. And he goes out and he does this crazy boom boom.
He
dance.
does a dance.
That reminded me of that Dirty Vega music video. Days Go By.
Yeah,
for sure. And so he does this crazy dance, and he pulls the glass out, and he's like, I'm going to kill myself. You're going to listen to me. I'm crazy, and I hate this weird bike worker society, and you stole my girlfriend, and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, we love you. We're going to give you your own stream. Where he gets to just get on there and say crazy stuff about, I guess, like the government.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's sad is like in the end of that episode,
and then
he gave in
like
to exactly
and he's like living it up too. So he has like the nice apartment, not the little glass cell where he has to pay to not watch the porn ads.
I don't think he's really living it up though. He's taking advantage.
It's so funny because he has to like, it shows him filming it, and he has to like hold the glass to his throat like he did in the tryouts like the whole time. You're like, I'm going to slit my throat, I'm crazy, and you're going to listen to me talk. It's super interesting. Weird.
Yeah, but I don't think he's living it up. I think it's because basically they give him a choice. You will either go back to your bike and ride and live in your little cell, or you will give in to these offers that we're giving you to do.
I know,
something
it's like
different.
People are willing to do anything other than what they're doing. Maybe that's what they're trying to get across. People are just like, are always looking for the next big thing.
Yep.
So
that was one of my favorite episodes of the whole.
Yeah, that was a really
series.
good one. That was the first episode I ever saw. Because like I was like, okay, I've heard about this show we're talking about on Joe Rogan all the time, and they're talking about these technologies that exist. Which, like I said, that was the thing about the first episode is the technologies didn't exist. So, but on the pig episode, it didn't really hook me in. Like I'm glad I watched this episode first because it was like, okay, alternate reality, different like futuristic society with the weird bicycle peddlers that power things, and this weird pathway to social mobility that is kind of like American Idol.
Yeah.
Like they even had like the Simon, like the girl and the two guys, and then like. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah, it was like the jerk guy, who I guess you could say was like, back in the day, people would view as like Simon Cowell. And then Paula Abdul, the lady, good looking, nice looking lady. And then, then they had a black guy as the other one. But I will say this, like, that episode, what was what was the third person's name on American Idol? I can't remember his name. But that's what was so sad is like they depicted some really ugly characters. Like all of those judges were terrible. Like they were mean,
that was for sure. And then like the whole them giving you the drink thing that makes you agreeable or whatever, that was disturbing. So third episode in the first season.
Also, probably my top favorite.
The entire history of you. That's the redo technology where you could replay. You had the implant in behind your ear in like the base of your skull, right? And you can replay. Like starts off with this guy in this weird business meeting, and they're like, they say the guy's like, "Oh,
we hope to see you soon."
Yes, we hope to hear from you again soon.
We hope that we will call to hear you soon.
Some funny play on words where they're like, "Yeah, dude, you suck, and you're gonna be lucky if we call you back. Probably not gonna take the time to do that." Like that was the point, and like he kept replaying it, and then they were like almost made him replay it in front of the whole party.
Yeah, he went to a dinner. Later that night he went to a dinner party with his wife and her old group of friends, and he obviously was a little touchy on how that interview went. And that group, again, just kind of depicting some mean people, were wanting him to replay it. Say, "Oh, hey, replay your interview. We'll tell you where you messed up," pretty much.
And then that one guy, what was the dude's name? Do you remember?
I don't remember anyone's
I don't remember
names.
his name. I don't. Yeah,
There's so many characters you can't remember their names.
Exactly. But so he's like the guy that like jumps in to rescue him or whatever, and then that is actually the guy
sleeping with his wife.
That is the dad of his kid. What he thinks to be his kid. So this whole episode starts off with him like looking into and replaying these interactions from that night and like pretty much deducing through like drinking a bunch of alcohol and stuff that his wife had been with this guy previously and he didn't know about that.
So this is where it's really, I feel like the technology of the near future comes into the biggest play because you can choose to get this implant.
Yeah, because there's that one lady at the party that's like, "Oh no, I had mine taken out."
No, she didn't choose to. Someone attacked her and took it out and sold it to someone else. So it's like it kind of puts you in danger too because it's like
so
people ripping out people's teeth for money.
Some people don't have it. Maybe like
exactly
like older generation of people don't have it.
You can choose not to get it. It's people are choosing to get the implant. And so that's the thing is like you have these cool futuristic things, but at the expense of driving yourself crazy, replaying everything you did wrong or everything your partner did wrong, or you said you were going to take out the trash and let me replay it for you. And, like you think that things like that seem like a really cool thing until it starts messing with people's lives because I mean,
I did like how dude went over to dude's house and was like, "You're gonna erase it.
That's exactly.
I'm gonna make you erase this." And it's because that's the thing. You can erase your memories. Like it's like stored on a hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, I didn't like necessarily that part or whatever, but like just the fact
that you would have done that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the guy had these memories of like banging that dude's wife. Saved on his hard drive,
and he would replay it.
And he made like jokes about it at the dinner.
Yeah, at dinner he's like, "Oh, at night I leave my beautiful woman upstairs and I go down and replay past nights." And that's when that dude started to catch on.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, you are watching replays of my wife having sex with you from a previous they were in a relationship years and years and years before." And he saved those memories and watches them. And how would that make you feel to know that some person can watch your partner in their most vulnerable time and just replay them naked over and over and over, and you have no control over it unless you go to their house and put like
Speaking of going to your house, that guy was going to his house when he was not there like previously and hooked up with his wife and got her pregnant, and then that guy thought that it pretty much ruins this whole dude's life. And doesn't it like depict with him like being homeless or something?
No, what he does, well maybe, but the major scene that got me was he ripped out his
yeah. He ripped out his implant or whatever.
He had like a kind of a flashback to that girl saying how hers got ripped out because it was driving him crazy. All he would do is replay images of his wife like walking up and down the stairs. Because he lived in the old house, the happy times, and that's just so sad. That's the thing. Like again, season 1 because of just these emotions I felt for these poor individuals who were really stuck in these really terrible circumstances.
This super depressing episode for sure.
Really depressing. Like, I still think about it. Really, really sad. So, see, episode 2 and episode 3 are in my top 3 favorite episodes.
For sure. I liked both of those a lot. So season 2, also 3 episodes. Did you watch the Be Right Back, the one with the weird clone?
So I talked to someone and they were like, oh yeah, that episode, because I was telling them about what my favorite episode was, and they were like, the one where the guy dies and she makes the clone of him. And I was like, no, see, that was kind of, that was weird for me.
That was super weird.
Yeah, like, I just didn't, I mean, it was I'm glad I watched it, but I would never do something like that. Like, that freaked me out.
Super. So, like, here's the background of that episode is that there is the lady's husband goes out and she's pregnant, and he goes to like the store or something and like has a wreck and dies. Is that like doesn't come back for whatever reason, gets attacked. I don't know what the deal is, but
he had a car accident. He went to drop off like their vehicle.
He's no longer with us, and so she's like finds out about the service where you can like upload all these videos and stuff, and then basically have a text conversation with kind of like an AI version of your spouse or whatever.
Yeah, so what they do is they look at all of your Facebook statuses, your Twitters, all of your any sort of recordings or home videos, and they create an AI version of what that person would say if you were to talk to them. So it's things that they say a lot, and you can kind of get their humor and their just the way that they speak and talk, and she can call that AI service.
Yeah, so it goes from like chatting like with an AI person that acts like or an AI entity or whatever online that acts like your husband, to talking on the phone. It's his voice because you upload the videos, and then it goes from that, like he's like they're always like kind of upselling, like, there is another level of the service available. And then that other level is like they send this crazy weird clone thing that births in the bathtub of her house. And then that just hit a whole other weird, freaky, weird level for me at that point.
Yeah, I just... And she has sex with that fake
Oh,
thing too.
gross.
Yeah.
You're totally correct. And like the personality is so bland. It's just like so like following commands, like just like probably.
And it can't leave without her.
You can't go more than 25 feet.
Yeah, something of the place it was birthed, which is.
What's so weird is like how they close out that episode, how like it's like the kid's 10th birthday or something. They're like, she's like, oh, I want to go upstairs and see so-and-so. And they like go upstairs and like she eats a piece of cake or like 2 pieces of cake or I don't know, but it's just super weird that like, oh, we're gonna hide this clone of your dad up in the attic away from, because she's like
she should have just pushed him or had him jump off the cliff. That's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder how much money she spent on that thing.
See, that's the thing they don't really go into is the economics of it, like in that later episode, which we'll get to in a second, about the mom and the daughter. But anyway, so weird clone episode. Definitely not one of my favorites. And I'll like mention here the very first episode of season 3. I don't think you watched it. I didn't finish it because it super got on my nerves. I'll talk about that in a minute too. But okay, so this was probably my favorite episode, the second episode in the second season. It's definitely top 3 for me. The White Bear, the criminal punishment, alternate reality.
So what's special about that is their creativity of this girl waking up, and she's automatically the protagonist.
And I think that actress is in like 3 episodes, if I'm not mistaken.
You think so?
Yeah.
And that's also something about Black Mirror is there's not really famous people in the first couple seasons.
I bet they're famous in
maybe
like,
so.
Great Britain,
yeah.
Europe.
But then famous Americans start getting involved in season 4.
Oh, I noticed that. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Which I guess they've had like different directors and a lot of different stuff involved. And I bet it's just like picked up steam because, I will say that they start to play on the same concepts of like the cookies and things like that, and like the brain implants. They start to really, I bet they like saw the positive reactions they got from like season 1 on certain aspects,
episodes, yeah,
that they went into, and like, okay, we're going to build on that because that's
and it's like, the most interesting stuff.
That's what I was
too.
saying. It's like those are the threads that kind of bind it all together, that make it like, even though it's all like, it's like an X-Files monster of the week in a way, but it's like a different. It's not related to a main narrative, so to speak, but the like Scully and Duchovny, they would be the threads.
Yeah, but again, back to this White Bear episode. So like you join the first beginning of the episode, and you see this woman, and she's afraid and scared, and there's people that are coming to murder her, and she's got to run. Everyone's taking pictures of her and not helping her, and she's the protagonist. You're on her side.
You feel sorry for her.
You immediately feel sorry for her. You immediately want her to survive. You want her to win, and then she's not the good guy.
Yeah, you know what?
She doesn't even know she's not the good guy.
Exactly, and it looks like she had previously slit her wrist, and she has this weird memory of this kid. And like,
you think it's her daughter, and she thinks it's her daughter. She's like, I think this girl's my daughter. Like, I think I've got a daughter. And
yeah, she was, but come to find out, she's super messed up in the head, and she was a criminal that had killed this girl that she had the picture of with watched her like fiance or husband burn the child or something, like out in this wooded area.
They kidnapped her, and then they killed her.
And then they play on like that exact wooded area they used to like as a part of her punishment. So like in this, like there's like basically you're being hunted. So she comes out of this thing, and like everybody's filming her. Like straight, like just weird. Like everybody's filming you but not paying attention to you. And like won't interact with you, and then somebody like rolls like I remember when this happened. Like dude rolls up, has this weird mask on with this weird symbol, and like gets up out the car and goes to the trunk and opens the trunk and then gets a gun. I was like, hell no. That I would just like, it's like, why are you just standing there? Yes, oh my God, the crazy goat face lady with the fillet knife. Yeah. Like my dad would like fillet fish with that, like when we go fishing when we were kids, and I would just be like, oh, I can't imagine getting hit with that. There's a movie that Mike and I have actually both seen it and talked about it, called Maximum Overdrive, and it's like an early Emilio Estevez movie where like alien technology takes over automobiles and like anything electronic, and they use one of those fillet knives and they hit somebody with it in like one of the first scenes, and I was just like, I saw it when I was a kid at my grandparents' house, scarred to this day. Like, oh.
But so yeah, what's scary about this White Bear episode is that, I mean, it's like a weird way to punish people for the crimes they've committed.
It's like their
it's a psychological crime.
Like they put her up in this hotel room at the end of each thing, at the end of each cycle or whatever. So, the guy that's hunting her, he plays this other character. So she like escapes with this one lady, and then she's like losing it. She has like a glitch in her, like just like I've drugged her up or whatever, or like a glitch in her implant if there's implants. But like this guy picks them up. It's like, come on, come with me. And she's like, I think I know you. And they end up going to that weird wooded area where that girl apparently got burned. And there's like, it's like straight up like out of Hostel. There's like all these torture, crazy, freaking like people crucified on trees, and like he's gonna like do crazy stuff to her and her friend, and he's like you think that they're both being kidnapped and going to be tortured by this like people who are like paying to hunt you. Like you're formulating all these ideas about what could possibly be going on, but what is actually going on is that lady who has the images of her daughter or whatever, that saw the guys being hunted and chased by these people and narrowly getting away and allying with this other girl she thinks is helping her, and then they both end up in the woods. This guy's just gonna he's calling like, hey, I'm here, come here, we're gonna kill him. And that one girl gets away, and then the girl with the memories of the kid is actually just a convict, and this is her punishment for her to every day be totally terrified and think that she's gonna die. And put in all these horrible situations, and that guy's like a TV producer, basically.
It's a really scary way. I mean, if that's what the near future can do, don't commit any crimes, ladies and gentlemen, because that's a terrible way. I know. That is way worse than sitting in a cell.
Well, and I wonder if that's like So they played on this in future episodes. Like, I wonder, so that's like the punishment. Like, she is each day, like, put up in this room, drugged, it starts over the next day, and she has little to no memories, and they're, like, debriefing the audience, like, she did throw a projectile on this day, don't interact with her. You could, like, laying out the rules for all the people that are on the show filming her. So, like, she, like, wakes, but, like, what if that is just, like, they did that, like, with a camera crew production, whatever, you know, like, made it, like, where she ends up on stage and they tell her what she did. Like, she has no memory of her previous crimes, and they tell her, like, here's what you're on this show for. Because you committed these crimes. You killed this little girl, and now you're going to be on this show for, like, the rest of, like, this is your sentence. Like, that was super creative, but they did that in future episodes with, like, the virtual reality thing and the cookie thing. And I thought that was super cool. Or, like the carbon copy of your consciousness.
Scary.
Weird. So, that white bear one, super crazy. One of my favorites, but super disturbing. Like, that's like I have my notes, like, super depressing, super weird, super disturbing. Is that, like, you know, a lot of them have, like, a weird, like, high art feel to them. Like, there's, like, I like the episode with the bees. Anyway, so we'll get to that. Hey, it's me, Waldo.
It's me, Waldo.
That was, I like that episode. So that was another, like, political episode.
I'm not as much into the political episodes.
Yeah.
I like the ones that are more personal and emotionally.
They played on the personal side, though. Like, I really empathized with the characters. So, like, Waldo is like a basically
an avatar type thing.
A cartoon character dog.
Like Family Guy.
A blue bear.
Blue bear.
He's a blue bear, and he's perverted
Very.
And vulgar.
Mm-hmm.
And he runs against this guy in political office, right?
Yeah. Well, multiple people.
Yeah, and then so, like, the guy that operates the avatar ends up kind of falling for this female candidate in the race, and then kind of she starts ignoring him because people are like, you can't talk to him, he's blah blah blah.
You're running
making a big
against
mockery,
him,
and you're running against him. And then this other guy who's coincidentally, actually, you know what? There are some famous people. I noticed this in another episode too. That guy that's the politician in that episode is in Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
He's the Tully, I think it is, that gets kidnapped. He's related to Robb Stark's mom, Catelyn Stark.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that I did notice a couple of Game of Thrones actors in there. The other one would be Sir Bronn of the Blackwater. He played in that one episode with the weird black male.
Yeah.
So Waldo goes up against this other guy from Game of Thrones, and he has a falling out with his girlfriend, and basically his whole life gets ruined.
It's not his girlfriend. It's a girl that he slept with once that he liked.
Well, yeah, and she left him, and they kind of play on, like, his character. Like,
well, he just realizes how stupid it is, really. You know, what he's doing and how he just gets he's, like, not into it anymore. He's like, I'm not doing this anymore. And they're basically like, well, you know, we're going to be done with you. And
they keep his character going, too.
They do.
Is sort of the thing. And, like, it becomes like they're, like, trying to leverage these. He's like, hey, you know, you're not going to win here, but we're going to take Waldo, and we're going to, you know, he can Google things. There's a team of people behind him. We can put him on national debates and make him this political character. And I thought that was super weird.
Well, and this is the episode where at the end he's homeless, and
that was super.
I mean,
sad.
he lost all of his opportunities.
And
no one else,
like, arrested.
And he wasn't really that talented. That's the thing that's what people are saying when they figured out who was behind Waldo. They're like, yeah, you're a dude who, you know.
Well, you know, they were just assassinating his character. He's like a comedian and, like, had done, like, some sketch comedy and stuff. He's like a.
He couldn't get rehired for anything else.
He's like a Nick Swardson. He's Nick Swardson. He's a British Nick Swardson, and he's, you know, doing some comedy, and he has his character, and
he was doing really, really well.
Yeah,
too.
he might have done other things but then too. So that's why, like, this was an okay episode. I liked it, but, like, I don't really like the political episodes either. Like, that is, like, my least favorite side. I know that, like, I'm doing this probably, I wouldn't say ultra political run of episodes on History Unraveled, but that's actually my least favorite thing to talk about. when it comes to history is politics. Or you can't not talk about it. But that's why I don't, out of all the themes of the episodes, kind of like you said, I don't like the political ones nearly as much, and that being like the pig episode and the Waldo episode. So that's season 1 and season 2 that both kind of play on these weird political episodes and these kind of alternate realities. So Avatar VR sort of weird political episode.
Yeah, and it kind of shows like season 2, it starts in February of 2013. That's when they air these. So it's February.
Pull the mic up to your face a little bit.
So it's February of 2013 that these episodes are airing. And then White Christmas, which is the special, is not aired until December 16th, 2014. That is a long time after February 26, 2013.
Yeah, see, I was reading something about that. I don't really know what the story is on it, but I think that they just I think they might have had some switch in directors, or maybe that's when it like came on Netflix and it picked up steam. I don't know. Like I said, I just started hearing him talk about it on Joe Rogan. Like him and Eddie Bravo both talked about it like several times, and maybe Brendan Schwab. And I was like, this seems awesome. I've got to give it a second chance. Even though a dude had sex with a pig in the first episode, I'm going to give it a second chance. And I'm glad I did. So, like, I've watched all the episodes now, except for all of the first episode in season 3, and I'll kind of tell you why I didn't like that. So we got, we're 36 minutes in when we have 13 episodes left to talk about.
We're going to have to fly through them.
No, we're not. We're gonna keep dragging this out. So, the special White Christmas.
That is also in my top 3 favorites.
That's probably my favorite one. It's definitely top 3. The introduction of the cookie.
The cookie. I do it all for the cookie. What? The cookie.
So the cookie is.
You can take your cookie.
Basically, it's your consciousness. It's like, so like if I took an imprint of your consciousness right now and uploaded it onto a cloud, and like they pitch it as like your consciousness is working for you, right? It's like it's going to toast your bread. It's going to do all the menial tasks that you don't want to have to think about doing, right? So I like, and they play on the cookie later on. They play on it like 3 different ways in this episode. They also introduce this blocking technology in this episode.
Oh, Brian told me after this episode, you better never block me.
You better never block me. Like, okay, so the blocking technology is crazy. Like, it can either be like imposed as like a restraining order type by law enforcement, and like that block will stay on like forever, right? Even if it's not legit. So like I will go into that with the guy's daughter later. But so there's three tiers of that episode. There's the guy that is talking, that's like programming and toasting the bread and talking to this consciousness that this lady had developed of herself, and that's not like the intro of the cookie. So that's part of the episode, and the guy that's doing that goes into his backstory.
Yeah, basically there's 2 guys, and each of them tell their backstory. So there's the present. And then there's one guy's backstory, and then the other guy's backstory.
And it starts off with the guy that's talking to the cookie, the lady whose consciousness was just created, who's pissed about it. She doesn't want to be in this weird state.
He's telling the guy, okay, so these 2 guys are in this house, and it's like snowy and stuff, and he's cooking, and he's trying to get this guy to like loosen up and talk a little bit. So he's like, all right, I'm going to talk about myself. And he's like, I bet you would never guess what my occupation was. You never guess what my job was. And his job was to basically like train these cookies to do their tasks.
No, he basically, like he said, like gets them to break mentally, because that's the thing. It's like they play on that in the USS Callister episode, first episode, season 1, where it's like the cookies
season 4.
Season 4. The cookies are never happy about being alive. It's like, honestly, like, okay, so like in that Netflix show that we're going to talk about later on, Dark, it's like it's like almost like a time travel thing. Like, you know, like when you go back and there's like 2 versions of yourself, like Michael J. Fox running into himself, a version of himself, or running into himself while his
When he was old, yeah.
when he's time traveling. So like in Back to the Future 2, when he goes back to 1955 and sees him in 1955 playing Johnny Be Good or whatever, it's like that sort of paradigm is what like gets introduced. It's like this, it's also in Harry Potter. It's like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're not like, oh, we're just like, so you got to think about it. Hermione and that version of Hermione and Harry basically fade into this existence. Like they're no longer.
Or it's a constant running clock of,
parallel realities.
Exactly, parallel universes and stuff. But that's not really what's going on with the cookie.
Yeah, well, it is because, like, I mean, it is and it isn't. Because it is because they're not happy about being like, oh, what? Like, I don't get to live a normal life. It's like that copy of that person forward is just a copy, and like they have all the base level needs of a human or whatever, and he like makes it seem like it's 6 months.
Yeah,
but for him, it's like 30. 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's like a double consciousness. And it's just sad. They feel trapped. But yeah, so that's what that guy goes into his background. And actually,
I'll be right back.
Part of what he did is he's telling this guy why kind of he found himself in the predicament he is. And it's because he was doing this near futuristic dating service where these guys who couldn't normally get a date or didn't feel like they were confident enough to get a date by themselves basically have these people in their ear telling them what to say. So they go into these clubs and you have like a group of people saying, okay, all right, Tommy, look around you. Okay, yeah, see that girl over there? I want you to go up and tell her. Like he's got a certain baseline that he uses, like a pickup line. So they basically give him lines to pick up women at this club, and that's why this episode is really long, because you have so many storylines kind of coming into play. So this guy, so there's a group of people too watching it, so everyone can see what this guy at this club is doing. And which means that if he gets to take, if he scores and gets a woman to come home with him, all of those men or whoever can watch him having sex with this woman he picked up at the club, which is exactly what happened. His lines worked. And so this woman hears him talking to himself, which he's not really talking to himself. He's talking to the guys, telling him what to say. And he's like, I don't know if I can do this. And she thinks that he's like, got voices in his head. He's a little crazy. And she legitimately is. She definitely has some voices in her head. And she thinks that he is kind of on the same page as her. And anyway, she takes him back to her place and she kills him. And so all of these guys who watched it are in a way guilty. And this man who was in that house, kind of telling his backstory, this man who was giving him the main tips of what to do is now kind of part of a crime, because he watched it and he didn't do anything about it, and he didn't turn himself in.
And then his wife turned him in.
His wife turned him in, and I bet she blocked him. Did she block him?
She definitely blocked him, and so they play on the blocking technology hard.
Did we even say like what the blocking is? Which I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably watched it.
Buzzes you out. It makes you like
a blurb.
Yeah, like what do they call it? Like on the TV, where it's just like black and white and like an old TV
static.
without a static. Yeah, so like
you can't hear what they say. They can't see you.
Hear. They can't see or hear. Yeah, it's just for both people. It's like that.
Yeah, they're just a blur.
So the guy he's talking to, it goes into how the blocking technology was used against him by his
girlfriend, who
got pregnant, was going to get an abortion.
She did not want to be pregnant, and she wanted an abortion, and he did not want an abortion. And it's the reason why. Because he's like, we're fine. We can have this kid.
She cheated.
It wasn't his kid. And here's the deal.
The Asian guy's kid.
Yeah, her coworker, who he's in the scene in one of the beginning scenes where so they're doing like a double date. And this guy is like, man, he's not really into her, but she's really into him. And the reason why is because that guy was screwing his wife, and he was into her.
So in this episode, they play on that song again, and also,
Anyone.
so also the episode like that you talked about, you really like the entire history of you.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there's a lot of similarities in that episode.
The reason why is because the kid was not the same. Like that was the same idea. At the end, you find out that this child from this relationship, there's unfaithful partners. And that's why it's so sad. This man spends his entire life, not his entire life, he's just like the past 5 or 6 years, trying to track down. His wife totally disappeared, blocked him. Well, he knew that every Christmas she goes to her dad's house. So every Christmas he would watch from a distance and watch his wife and this little girl, and her face was blurred and stuff.
Yeah, and what's crazy, it wasn't even his daughter. It was blocked, even though it blocks offspring. The court blocks offspring.
Was it the court, or does she have control over what her daughter?
She got a he wouldn't leave her alone. She left him, and he wouldn't leave her alone. So she blocked him at first, but then. She got it like a restraining order, got the cops involved.
But if you have some dude following you and your daughter, whether or not it's his daughter, you can get that restraining order.
Yeah. So, so the courts wrote it down like that daughter was, so she got the block too, or that was just a loophole, one or the other. Because it turned out not to be his daughter, and when he finds that out, the mom had died, so the block has been lifted. So he goes out to the cabin where he'd watched him every summer, where he'd the whole episode with him and that girl starts off him picking her up from that cabin, and he said the dad never liked him and blah 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 blah, and he sees that the girl is Asian, and is like, oh.
That's why his wife didn't want to have the baby.
Yes,
because he would know. But she did want to have the baby.
And she left
She didn't want to have an abortion. That's why she left him, is so she could have her baby with another man.
So he hits the grandpa over the head with a globe, and turns out that the guy that led that crazy online dating thing that got that dude poisoned because he ended up, the one person he hooked up with was the crazy girl at the party that was suicidal. And had like schizophrenic and stuff like that. So it turns out he's working for FBI or something to extract that dude's confession.
Because in hopes that he will get a lesser sentence.
Yes. And what's truly effed up about that is the sentence that he gets. Because I guess he was in, because they said when he was interrogating that guy, they kept making a conversation feel like 5 years. That's another part that they introduce in this episode, is making things feel longer than they actually are. They introduced that again in the first episode of season 4, the USS Callister episode, which is probably my favorite episode of the whole series. But that was a fascinating part of the kind of futuristic technologies too. But anyway, so his punishment is that he gets blocked in society. He can go live in society, but he's blocked by everyone. How are you going to do anything? How are you going to check out your groceries? Exactly. How are you going to go through a drive-through? So I guess I don't know if they had him in some sort of sentence where he's just locked up and time just crawled, because that's it. They make it seem like time is moving slower, but you're not aging. It's it's 20 minutes. It's 1,000 years type situation. What kind of punishment, man?
Terrible, weird, futuristic punishment.
Yeah, we'll see why they talk about this on Joe Rogan all the time is because they're like, this is gonna happen. This could totally happen. It is terrifying. My whole life there's been a paranoia of chips and implants and stuff like that. I would just say in general in society, ever since I was a kid, I've felt like that's been something that has been a part of the social narrative of what's going on. So anyway, that was just a special that's between season 2 and 3, White Christmas, and more like Red Christmas for the grandpa who gets his skull bashed in by the snow globe.
Oh no, the kicker, we didn't say this. The girl, so the man kills the grandpa. And
the little girl freezes to death.
Yeah, the little girl goes outside and tries to find help or whatever, and she freezes to death.
Man.
So he killed 2 people.
Yeah, but he doesn't have anything on that one lady from season 4. Anyway, so let's go into season 3. So something happened between. So up to now we have 7 episodes, but season 3 has 6 episodes and season 4 has 6 episodes. So I don't think you saw the first episode of season 3,
I didn't.
Nosedive.
No.
It sucked. Everything is about like social media interactions. Like we would have an interaction at the coffee store or something, the coffee shop, and you would rate that interaction on like 1 to 5 stars.
Ew.
And like it just like turns people into being fake, and also they base this off to where like okay, you would have like a 5-star rating. I would have like a 3.2.
Of course you would.
So, just basically the fakest people get the highest ratings, and then from there, they are able to get discounts on apartments, get cheaper car insurance, better flights, like all of these
things. Fake people get benefits.
Yeah,
sounds like the future.
Well, and there's this girl, and it kind of follows her, and she's like trying super hard to like move out of this apartment with her brother and like advance her life, and like the harder she tries, the more her rating goes down, and she's going to be this like maid of honor for this like social butterfly, and that's going to really get her rating up. She's going to be able to get this dream apartment. It's just a disaster, and why I didn't really like the themes they played on in it. It's a cool concept, but what the character, the fake girl character in the episode was so annoying to me. So I just like couldn't get into it, and I watched like maybe 30 minutes of it, and it was like a longer episode, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing it. So that was my least favorite episode of all of the 19 episodes, was the Nosedive social media episode.
But you did enjoy the next episode. Playtest.
Yes.
Okay, and so this is also a theme that gets in with the kind of that USS Callister of the game.
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality games.
Yes.
You pay for this experience. So this guy is traveling the world, living it up, and he like is traveling. He had money, and then all of a sudden his card got hacked, and he's stuck. And he's like, man, I need to like he meets this girl, and he's like, hey, my cards got hacked and I can't get back to the United States. And she's like, oh, well, you should go to this place. She found a little like ad where you can go to this video game testing place, and it's top secret. You can't talk about it. You sign your life away pretty much before you do it. And when he gets in there, it gets trippy. The game that he is testing plays on your fears. So in this game, he's locked in this house, and, you know, there's things where, like, spiders, and that girl that he
and the bully from high school.
The bully
I
from high school.
He's afraid of spiders, and the bully from high school, and then, like, they hit him with the bully from high school. It's like this crazy, like, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde looking character, and then they hit him with spiders, and then they hit him. Yeah, the bully from high school that looks like a spider.
Yeah, that was good.
That was crazy because like I couldn't ever figure out like
what was reality.
Yeah, he kept trying to like take the implant out of the back of his head, and so in this they like injected it into like his spine basically, or his brainstem. And then they do take it out, and like he's like, oh my God, that was so crazy. And they're like, that was 1 second or something like that.
Yeah, so it seems like he's been in this
like
game
a whole episode
for like a whole night or something.
Well,
you
then
know?
they have this weird thing. So like his dad died, and there's this relationship with his mom, and him not answering his mom's phone calls. And then like something to do with like his mom calls like while they're doing the implant, or like while they're putting him in the virtual reality, and like he like dies.
So basically, I mean, because they're testing this process, they're testing these things that they're putting into these people. They tell you, turn your cell phones off. So there was an interaction, and it pretty much fried his hard drive. You know, like that's what happened is he got fried. He was glitched. He became a glitch where he's just like, mom, mom, mom. Because his mom called. It said mom on the phone. But, and yeah, so like, it keeps going back. Like, there's a scene where he goes home and his mom, like, he sees his mom and stuff, but that's not reality. He's still overseas at this game place, and it's still all in his head. It was crazy. Like, it was really deep, scary.
I'm telling Colby that we're doing a podcast just to make him feel guilty.
Oh, I've
You
already
should text him too. You've been texting him?
Oh yeah, I've already sent him a picture of you.
That's so funny. So Colby is going to be a mainstay guest of After the Show, which is what we're doing right now. Like, see, like, I know that you're not as into this as I am, but like, I just like have like, I almost wanted to go into English so I could do things like intro to film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like I'm just, I mean, you know me better than anybody. Like I love
movies and
I
stuff.
love movies. I love TV. And like, that's why I love it when like we get into a show together. So like, I'm definitely going to try, like, I want you to be my guest for like all the Netflix shows. I feel like that's what you and I watch the most of. And then Colby and I, like, we have this passion and dialogue for HBO shows.
Yeah, because Colby's our best friend, and he is refusing to get on the podcast.
He's it's funny. Like I don't know why he did. Like I think he's just more like laying low because Allie's off and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And but I am looking forward to having him on.
I mean, you know, it's not like he's a super out there kind of guy. Like, oh, let me get in front of people and talk. So it's kind of intimidating getting in front of a microphone. And
yeah, you know, a lot of people I've talked to, like, I want to have Bob Spanky on because
mm-hmm.
he has like this awesome passion for like Star Wars
mm-hmm.
and for books and
yeah,
like just today I was like, Bob, bro, like I've been rolling with him at the gym, and I'm like, we could record this conversation we're having
mm-hmm.
right now. Like, this is a good conversation. Like, I would re-listen to this conversation because we're talking about like Star Wars and the universe of novels that were produced before Disney bought Star Wars. Jesse and I talked about it a little bit too. There's this trilogy that focuses on Luke and Leia that I'm gonna read. I'm gonna see if there's an audiobook available. But I'm super into it, and like I'm trying to compare the two, and I'm probably going to get into the new narrative because they've been releasing new books. Anyway, Colby said seen that. So back to
season 3.
Back to After the Show. Are we done with White Christmas season 3? We did Nosedive, my least favorite episode.
Season 3, episode 3. Shut Up and Dance.
Oh, that one was super weird. That was the one with Bronn of the Blackwater from Game of Thrones.
Well, that is part of this is where the future plays in. It's like this Amazon whatever thing that we have. The Echo. So I'm not into technology. We have a Dot now we got for Christmas from one of our members. Now Brian's parents got us.
One of the members who went to high school with Henry Akins.
Yeah, super interesting.
Tune in for Jack Toffer on the podcast.
So we're sitting here right now, and I'm looking at this Amazon. What is it again?
An Echo Dot?
No, it's
maybe
not.
That's not the Dot.
But I don't know. It's this big thing
Alexa.
that's listening. Alexa, yeah, it's listening to everything that we're doing and saying. And this is kind of where season 3, episode 3, kind of someone is always watching. So there's this kid and his computer. He's watching these videos, these dirty videos, which in the end you find out to be child porn. And he's a kid too,
Crazy.
But he's like 16 years old, 17 years old, and he's watching like children. And, you know, he does something very bad in front of that camera.
See, I didn't even like realize that was going on. Like, and I will say this too, like I noticed if that is one of the themes, they play on that theme like 3 times in the whole series, like of like pedophilia, like, and freaking me out.
Which scenes? Or which episodes, pedophilia?
Because, so you remember in the episode that you said you was like super depressing the entire history of you about the replaying the things and you'll erase my wife and blah, blah, and she cheated on him. And that one, remember, he's like, oh, the pedophile babysitter.
Oh, yeah.
And then in another episode in season 4, they made some sort of pedophile reference. So it's like in every season.
Well, it's because it's an issue, you know, like that's what they're bringing up, these common issues. And so this kid, basically, his computer is bribing him. These people, you don't even know who they are, but he starts getting these text messages like, hey, you need to go here at this time. And basically, all of these people who've done something bad, someone
are getting blackmailed by somebody.
Someone. Yeah, like Big Brother, you know.
Some sort of, but it could just be like in other episodes, like even episode 1, some sort of high art, like that person was an artist, like some sort of social justice V for Vendetta type.
It's very much like the B episode, which is in season 4. or isn't it in season 4 or later this season? Because these people who've done bad things are getting their punishment pretty much. Again, a weird, twisted way of justice.
Yes.
And so that's also a change. You know, in the beginning, all these innocent people are getting punished and bad things happening. And now it's like bad people are getting it.
It's like, I will say, like, pretty much it doesn't work out for anyone in any episode ever.
Well, except for one of the episodes that's kind of weird that I'll talk about in a minute. Like,
Okay.
the next one, actually, which I still don't get. The one with the two girls
The
that you fell
yeah,
asleep.
I didn't really watch that one. Yeah, San Junipero, is that what that's called?
I guess.
So yeah, that one, I fell asleep like the first few minutes. So go ahead and take that one away, because the next episode is probably like my second favorite. Like the next 2 episodes I really liked from season 3.
So you know, honestly, I watched this episode really late at night, so that may be why I'm not into it or don't get it. But I feel like it was a little just misplaced. I feel like it didn't fall into the theme of what Black Mirror did. But there's 2 ladies. There's basically like this like beach town, party town, and they go there and they dance and they have, you know, kind of like a sexual relationship with each other, and they always like, it's kind of like time travel-y, and they meet up at this place where they've got these good memories, and then at the end one of the ladies is dying and she wants to live in that place forever once she's dead, and her little lesbian partner.
So is she replaying like on like that one episode? Is she like replaying that?
I mean,
time,
she dies.
Or is she like going?
It's like when you die, you get to choose if you want to go back and live in some sort of previous time for eternity, or you. I don't know what the other option is. But yeah, so you know, she wants her lesbian lover girl who's married already and has kids and stuff. She wants her to come back and live with her in that time period when she dies. And, you know, that the other lady's like, you know, I've got a husband that I lived with for a long time. We made a life together. Like, what if I want to spend eternity with him? You know, maybe I don't want to spend eternity with you. We had a lot of fun a long time ago. Like, it was kind of like an 80s-ish feel of this time period when they were partying and stuff. But, like, you know, we had a lot of fun during that time, and but I do have a life without you and these fun memories that you cling to that I don't really cling to as much. But in the end, I think she does end up spending eternity with that other girl. So again, I don't really get, no one, I guess it sounds weird. No one
like
got
an Inception sort of spin.
Yeah, no one got punished. It was just kind of a weird story.
You think I should go back and watch that episode? No.
I don't think it's worth
it. Give it a rating 1 out of 10.
2.
Ew.
No, I didn't like it. And it has nothing to do with lesbians. Like, I love lesbians. But I just didn't like, I just didn't like the storyline. It just didn't fit in. It wasn't as interesting.
Isn't that sad that, like, and I don't care if anyone in my audience doesn't agree with this, because I'm never going to read the comments on these videos. But isn't it sad that, like, some people would, like come across that particular and be like, and not watch it? And I'm not saying it's sad, like sad for them or whatever, but, like, I feel bad that, like, that community of people is persecuted in that way, to where it's like some people will not even consume a series or whatever that's a topic in, because it is a topic. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, oh yeah, well they're depicting that as like a normal part of society in this show, therefore I'm not going to watch the show. Like, I mean, there's I know a lot of people like that, and I'm not talking bad about those people.
Oh no, I mean, I just spoke with someone recently. We were talking about good series, and they were like, well, does it have any, like, you know, like dirty scenes?
It's a serious scene. Sometimes it's parents and their kids.
Well, I know a lot of people feel that way about Game of Thrones. You know, they say there's way too much.
I can totally get that.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not even like woman on woman stuff or man on, it's like just people on people stuff. Like, that's a lot of, I mean, but I guess if you like porn and stuff like that, maybe you're like, you want more of it, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that one episode I just wasn't digging very much. Didn't like the plot, you know? Wasn't very interesting to me.
We're over halfway through season 3, and I'd just like to let everyone know that Cora's going to be back. I'm going to be doing 2 other spots at this soon, like with the next couple weeks, on Godless, which is an 8-episode sort of Western series, and what's the other
Dark.
one? Dark. Oh, such a good show. I can't wait to talk about it. That is an awesome show. Like, we have been fortunate to get on these 3 good shows lately.
Yeah, within the past, like, 3 weeks,
Yeah,
honestly.
so, like, Cora had, like, her MMA fight get canceled. It's an amateur fight here in Arkansas that fell through. And so, like, we just stayed home that weekend and we watched, like, what was it when that
we watched Godless in one day.
And Dark?
Oh, yeah. So, Godless was on a Saturday and Dark was on a Sunday.
And then we just got into Black Mirror, like last week or something, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's pretty fresh on our
sick.
minds. So, and I had the flu. And then you were been kind of down a little bit. So, we've been able to fall into some show holes. But that's what I'm so pumped about having the podcast, and like why I want to do this segment is I can talk about these shows.
Yeah, definitely.
And if Colby will ever come be on the podcast, he's going to be my Game of Thrones / Westworld guy.
I mean, that's why we got to get a third mic so I can.
We have a third mic here right now.
Right. We just got a third mic.
So when Caleb comes with Flavio, we're going to do that.
Okay.
So
yeah, well let's finish up this series right here. So your 2 episodes that you like a lot that I didn't really care for either.
Men Against Fire.
Kind of political.
Okay, yeah, but so in this one,
but I did like how it tied into history about how people wouldn't shoot others.
Oh yes, okay. So they
true.
base this system called MASS, which is yet again a brain implant, which they put in soldiers, right? So MASS is basically the military feeds you what they want you to think, right? So that means that they give you an augmented reality, like in that one episode, that there's these certain people in society. It's almost like a Nazi type thing. That they're like a certain bloodline. They have like more cancer in their DNA, and all, like just basically an inferior race of the species. So the MASS makes people that have these bloodlines appear as these things called roaches to the military guys. So they're like basically like zombies, like monsters. They have like, and it like controls their senses. So like they don't see the human side of it. So this one guy, like he gets in this interaction with this house. They're clearing these roaches, and it's basically just like 3 normal people, like a husband, a wife, and a kid hiding. And he kills one of them, and then knifes this teenage boy. Kills the dad, but the dad flashes him with this thing that makes his implant go crazy. It's like a virus.
Yeah.
And then he knifes this teenage boy, which he thinks is this crazy roach zombie. Well, a couple of days later,
they look like zombies, pretty much.
Yeah,
you're afraid of them. You want to kill them.
That's the augmented reality. They're actually just totally normal human people that are being projected to you in this way that what they call roaches. And it's just because they're like Jewish or they're whatever, you know. Like I said, it really reminded me of like Nazi Germany, World War II, like targeting of ethnic minorities and stuff like that. But it's like, oh, you know, your blood can't go on, so that we're going to use this military system. And they used. I wrote about this in my master's thesis about how in World War II, like people did not shoot to kill. They shot high. They didn't aim at all. Like only 15% of people shot to kill or less. So like we raised that through to Vietnam. Like that's what part of my master's thesis was about. But they played on that and they're like, well, that was always still an issue. And this is an issue in Vietnam, blah, 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 until we came up with this. And now there are no more issues. Well, this guy's implant starts glitching and then he sees and gets captured, or not gets captured, like sees that like one of his comrades he's out on a mission with or whatever. Comrades, it's like a very communist way to say it, I guess. But one of his buddies is in the military together. They're out clearing this house, and his implant's glitching, and he thinks that she's killing normal people.
He doesn't see them as roaches anymore.
Yeah,
he sees them for what they are.
This lady
people.
That's just like
you're crazy, dude. What are you doing? You're a traitor.
Johanna Young Jacek gets him, and she's like, "You don't see me as a roach." Like this, like girl that's
the one
like
that
a European, like Danish or something. I forget, but. So it's like, oh, you don't see me as a roach. You don't see my little boy over there as a roach. We used to be these people, but then they came out with this MASS system, and now we're seen as roaches because of our blood. Crazy. Like, totally crazy, because I can see us doing something like that. Like, human beings being like, we've already done that. We've like targeted genetics, targeted bloodlines, targeted ethnic minorities, like that's happened all throughout time. And especially in the last 150 years.
It's like basically putting a filter over their eyes of what they see.
Exactly. I mean, that's that augmented virtual reality type deal again. It's like you're gonna see what, and then so Doug Stamper from House of Cards, the chief of staff from House of Cards, he plays like a doctor, and he goes in that dude's cell after they recover him, and it's like
a psychological doctor.
This dude's super jacked up about what he's done, and he's like, we're gonna project your actual kills on a loop in a cell all day, every day. Or because like it shows him like killing and knifing that teenager, but it's not a roach; it's just a normal looking teenager. And they're like, we're gonna replay all the horrible stuff you've ever done, and blah blah. And like, so it shows a video of him previously before he got the mass implant, saying you won't have any recollection of this conversation of you enlisting and getting the mass implant right now. And it's like you won't have any, and that's the thing. He's like trying to bribe him, like, be a good military boy, and don't. Just let us reset your implant and everything go back to normal. You won't even remember this conversation.
Well, and the thing is he agreed to having all that happen to him, and he's like, no, I never agreed to any of this. And they're like, yeah, bro, you did.
Yeah,
here,
didn't
look.
you hear on the video how we told you wouldn't remember? Like, how convenient, right?
Well, and he was kind of like, didn't seem like the most outstanding member of society before he joined. You know, like I remember seeing the video of him, and he honestly just acted like a typical kid, you know, in the future, just kind of like childlike and kind of a jerk. And then this experience made him see, you know, it's not cool to hurt people.
Yeah. So I really liked that episode. I could really see that being not too far off in the future. And they did the fifth episode, which you didn't really in the fourth season, like I don't think you watched that one, but I'll kind of go into it. There's a very similar feel on it, like about like militaristic, futuristic technology. Anyway, so Hated in the Nation, the B episode, higher art there going on again. What do you think about that one?
So actually, I missed a part of that. I like fell asleep or something, and I watched it, and I was like, I don't like this. And then we watched it again. I guess you watched it, and then I was like really into it because I got to see it from the beginning.
Yeah, bees are extinct, and they had to come up with these robotic bees, which are like they 3D print themselves to reproduce.
It's weird.
And there's like 4,000 hives around like a London type city or something.
Yeah, and so basically it's like these people, there's like this hashtag that you can, like it's like social media. On social media, if there's someone that you don't like, or like a big world leader or something you don't like, you can say, what was the hashtag?
Death
to Brian
Jacob
Wilson
Skulls.
or whatever, yeah. And the person at the end who had the most hashtags of death to, these bees turn into killer bees and they go and kill you.
Yeah, they like bore into the pain centers of your brain and like totally wipe you out. So like there's this controversial journalist and she gets attacked with it first, right?
Yeah.
And then like it happens like 3 days in a row, like somebody like a famous music guy. Like,
there was just one girl who took kind of like a disrespectful picture
of like peeing on a monument.
Yeah, just faking to pee on a monument, and everyone was like, "Oh, screw this girl, death too, blah blah blah."
And she does. She ends up getting the
Yeah, she dies.
See, that's you were watching that part, and I was like falling asleep late one night, and then like I went back and rewatched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally crazy. That was so. Then it becomes like this higher art. Like this guy had previously worked for the bee place. It's like has like a greenhouse of bees and all these hives, even in the city. And like I said, they can 3D print, reproduce, and he like basically creates a virus to control these bees, and then. But what he's really done is he gets everybody to play this Death 2 game because while he was working at the bee place, like 6 months previously, he'd quit. He had this lady that was a roommate that had gotten like accosted on social media, like cyberbullied. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And she had like committed suicide. And he had like saved her out of the bathtub, and he liked her, but they worked together at the bee place. I don't know really what the thing was on that, but he became some sort of idealist about. Whatever he was going to do with that. And, got his virus together and targeted and took over all the bees, and then used all the bees to kill all the people that cyberbullied and said these people should be killed. And then he goes off and leaves, and then like the detectives and stuff that have been like working the case, which one of the detectives dies because they hashtag deaths too. And then one of them fakes a suicide and then goes and like hunts him in like Latin America or something and finds him at the end, and it just kind of leaves it open. So what'd you think about that episode?
I mean, it was definitely futuristic, deep, scary. Again, like that's kind of like the theme that I get when I think about Black Mirror is just scary, as in like unsettling.
Yeah, because it's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah, because like I mean that's it. Like that's a major issue. Like everybody is kind of worried that bees might go extinct. I think my dad just got a beehive.
Yeah, I think he did too.
So, anyway, Hated in the Nation. That was one of my favorites. I was into it. Okay, so this one probably, I don't know, this one's got to be my favorite episode because I really like how well they did the character in it. So this had Todd, I don't know his real name, but Todd from Breaking Bad.
And Jesse Pinkman.
And Jesse Pinkman's voice in the end. But,
what a funny thing.
So, yeah, and one of the shows I'm definitely going to be breaking down on after the show is Better Call Saul. I cannot wait till season 4 comes out. So, USS Callister, this is my favorite.
Star Trekky.
Very Star Trekky. Plays on the virtual reality, augmented reality.
And this was just released
of the cookie.
Like December 29th.
Yeah, it just came out. Yeah, I mean, and like we've already, like I guess you still have to see 3 episodes. Is that correct?
Yes.
I watched all of them. And
he doesn't love me, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not true. It's not true.
I mean, how many people out there get in trouble for watching the rest of the series without your significant other?
How many people have a podcast where they break down TV shows? I have a necessity, okay? So it's okay. You know, you watch those next 3 and we can, you can get some little bitty podcast spot about those 3 episodes. Anyway. But I watched them and like the last 2 were kind of slow. I wasn't super into them. And then, there was the 4th one I think you would really like. It's about this like dating reality thing. So, but anyway, so USS Callister, what do you think on that one? Take that one away.
So, basically, again, we're going back to this like game, like it's like a game, that people can play, you know, it's like an online game, you know, or like, I don't play PlayStation and stuff, but you know how people like get on there
play
and
Super Nintendo Classic.
We do play Super Nintendo. Yeah, people are like, are you guys gamers? Yeah, the classic kind.
400 games on my Classic.
But we are not like PlayStation people. So, you know, there's this game people can play where you go online and you, get to play with these other people and stuff. But anyway, so there's this company and you meet this guy at first and you meet 2 men actually, and they're both the creators of this game. And one of them seems like mild and meek and like there's this girl and she's like, I'm so interested in this. Like, you're so interesting. Tell me more about what you do. And then this other guy comes in. He's kind of more confident and kind of bully-like. And you're automatically like, screw you. I feel for this other guy. Well, their personalities actually, yeah. The dude, and I don't, like I said, there's so many characters. I don't remember his name, but he is one of the main creators, was not a good dude. He basically steals these people's DNA. And again, kind of going back to that cookie idea of creating like a duplicate consciousness and sticking them in his game, which the game he's created for him and his personal self is like this, like I said, Star Trek. You're on a ship, and he creates these little, I don't know, like missions and stuff for his crew. And all of his crew members are people that have worked for him, or actually technically are working for him. He has stolen their DNA, and somehow, whether like he stole this one little boy's DNA because he was looking on a sucker and he set it down and he takes it and he steals their DNA, creates this, you know, duplicate consciousness, sticks it in his game, and they're forever stuck on his spaceship doing whatever he wants. He's the leader. He's the captain. And he comes in there, and that's his time to boss everyone around. And he's made a duplicate of actually his co-creator. stole his DNA.
You know,
and they're tortured in there, like mentally.
What I liked about that too is that was the young man in black from Westworld, was like the co-founder of that company with Todd from Breaking Bad, and that too, like Todd from Breaking Bad is this perfect character inside the VR world, but he's like kind of middle-aged, balding, real nerdy, not quite respected in like his work life, and like the guys, which is like the same dynamic from Westworld, like. Man in Black gets like walked all over by his brother-in-law is when he's younger. Same way with like that guy who started the company. It's like really the person behind that company is the programmer or whatever, the coder. But it's the Man in Black's character who's like, he's the face of the company, and he's just really pushing that guy's hardware. So, but I liked how there's kind of like how he sees himself in virtual reality, and he's like this perfect Captain Kirk ideologue. It just like really, his character was over the top when he was in the Starfleet world.
Oh yeah,
it was good. Like he really got into it. Like I was super impressed by like that character development within that one episode.
I was grossed out by it. He was not a good human being. And again, like, okay, so this season 4. Now I didn't get to see like the second half of it. You know, Brian can tell you more about that. But what I've noticed is, and a theme that we're going to talk about in the next episode, is that these people are bad. This man is bad. He's torturing these people's consciousness, and it's cool because like these people are trying to escape the ship, and they're trying to reach their outside person because all these people are still working for him at the company, but their duplicate consciousness is in this game. And they're trying to reach their outside selves and give themselves a hint that they're trapped in this game so that they can shut it down or find a way to, just end it. It's like being trapped in your head forever.
Yeah, they like are okay with the idea of like basically the consciousness dying.
Yeah, because you can't sleep,
even
you
though
can't
they don't
eat,
want to, and they don't
have genitals.
Yeah, that was crazy how they're like, no, I can't even go to the bathroom. It's just too funny, but yeah, the whole VR cookie thing, they essentially start communicating with the new cyber tech lady that started working there, who's the most new cookie that's been created. Like he got her DNA off of a cup or something. And she starts trying to contact herself so they can like derail it. And they do derail it. And good triumphs over evil and blah, 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 blah. Basically what happens is they thwart his plan by like getting the new cookie girl, the lady they're trying to contact on the outside, to like kind of seduce Todd from Breaking Bad in a way. And then while they're doing that, they like fly into this wormhole, and they're doing
an update. They're doing an update. So like the system is about to relaunch. Like he's relaunching this game or whatever. So there's
I like how he's like, oh, I've got a pizza, and like they call and like fake order, like they get her on the outside to fake order a pizza and like go in. And
and they blackmail her because they're like, the only way she's going to do this is if we blackmail her. So the girl, her second consciousness is in this game, and she says, there's dirty pictures of me that I never deleted on my iCloud. We can access my iCloud in the system and send her a text message, but pretty much being like, hey, we got these photos of you, and we will release them to everyone unless you break into this guy's house still. And here's the kicker, too, is if she doesn't go inside of his little office area and steal their DNA, he can at any point in time redo it. Once he has your DNA. Just keep
making. Did you talk about when I was letting the dog out? Did you talk about the little boy?
No, I said that there was a little boy.
So like the Todd from Breaking Bad made like his co-founder. He made him. He made like DNA from his little boy. Brought his little boy to work with him one day, and he took and like basically put him out in like a space vac. And like just out into the empty space, and it like froze him up and cracked.
Yeah, it like tortured his dad by doing that.
Yeah, and he's like, now you're gonna fall in line, or I'm gonna bring Tommy back every day and kill him over and over again and make you watch. And so like that guy was willing to like burn himself up to like get them through the wormhole or whatever to like crash the system. So long story short, they triumph over evil, and Todd from Breaking Bad ends up getting stuck in the VR because the girl like sabotaged his implant, and they were able to succeed in their plan, and blah blah blah. And
so yeah, it kind of worked out for them, right? Did it work out for them?
I feel like
maybe.
because then like they get to just fly around that world for the rest of their life, like and do whatever they want. Or go.
Well, and that's the worst part is they didn't like he would make them do whatever, and he was mean and bad, and
he like turned. I think you missed this one part, but like they turned this one lady into like
the big crazy weird roach
but there was
thing?
another lady that was already like that he would just like. They're like, oh, that's so and so. She didn't really fall in line when she first got here, so he did this. And then there's his adversary or whatever. That dude gets shot, and he's like, please end it. And he's like, oh no, that protocol is against Starfleet command. I like how he has like the monologues. Todd from Breaking Bad has like these like Captain Kirk dialogues. Is it Kurt or Kirk?
Kirk.
Captain Kirk. He has like these monologues and like these deep inner thoughts. It's like, it's very Star Trek, but Starfleet, USS Callister. Anyway, that's probably my favorite episode. What about so I think you like this one. I thought it was super creepy. Played
Crocodile?
off like the no, Archangel.
Oh, Archangel.
It played off of
okay, and that has
Implant.
Jodie Foster in it, right?
I don't think that was Jodie Foster.
Are you sure?
Pretty positive.
Are
it
you
was
super
not
sure?
Jodie Foster, but you can double check on that. And while you're double checking on the Jodie Foster thing, let me go tell you a little bit about what was the name? Did I say the name of the guy that tried to assassinate Reagan was? Something Jr.
3 names.
I can't remember. Anyway, we'll come back to what the name was. So,
the new Black Mirror episode, Archangel, landed big name talent in Jodie Foster.
Really? I didn't. So she's the mom, or
she's
what?
the mom. I didn't even recognize her.
Wow. You know she's a lesbian now?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
So here's the crazy connection. I've never really seen the movie Taxi Driver with Hinckley Jr., John Hinckley Jr. So I never seen the movie Taxi Driver, but the guy that tried to kill Ronald Reagan, like his motive was this. He had seen Taxi Driver, and he identified with Robert De Niro's character because he was like this ideologue that was like protecting this 12-year-old prostitute who was Jodie Foster. And Hinckley Jr., at one point, De Niro's character tries to kill someone running for president or a politician. And I got to watch that movie, I guess. I don't know. It seems super creepy, though. But it's a cult classic. So
this is the second time we've talked about Jodie Foster today, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but that, it just reminds me of like the Ronald Reagan thing. But like this guy was obsessed with Jodie Foster, like stalked her, called her, he heard that she was taking a class at Yale. So he took a class at Yale. Yeah, I know. And then Jodie Foster is the reason he tried to kill
Ronald Reagan.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, that's what it said on Wikipedia.
That's freaking weird. Why are people so weird?
I know, right? Like,
people
of all the
crazy.
reasons, like, I was just thinking, like, if people are coming up with that, like, man, imagine the weird combinations of things and people's subjective realities that they're coming up with based off of all of these social and political interactions and seeing a movie with Robert De Niro.
Yeah, that's crazy that he would try to shoot. Anyway, so yeah, Jodie Foster, she's in this episode of Archangel. Super interesting concept because it's like this chip you can put in your kid and you can monitor their health. You can see where they're at. It's like those chips that you put in your animals and you can find them, but you can monitor where they're at and then you can see whatever they are seeing. So, because you have a little tablet and you access everything on your tablet.
Like all their vitals and everything.
Yeah. So this little girl, it's experimental at this time. Little girl gets this chip put in her and or whatever it is put in her. And her mom's monitoring her and all through growing up. Oh, and what she does is you can put like a parental block on certain things. Very similar to the blocking we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I know. She gets like upset about like not being able to, like, some kids telling this story about like some crazy, somebody beating somebody up and him seeing
she can't
a video
hear
on
it.
YouTube. And then like kids are looking videos and she can't see or hear what's going on.
Because her mom has like a parental block on her. Like there's this dog that she walks by every day that's like super kind of vicious like and barking, and it's totally kind of like muted out where she can't witness it, because basically what they're doing is they're trying not to upset her, you know? And her grandpa has like a stroke or a heart attack, and she can't, all she sees is a blur on the floor. Like she at that point can't see her grandpa because it would be upsetting. Something bad is happening. It'd be upsetting for her. So,
and which is like apparently an unintended consequence of that technology, right? Because, like, that's the thing is, like, you fast forward to when that girl's a teenager and they're like, yeah, we couldn't have expected. And, like, they've recalled all the units.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. That's what they're like. Yeah, this system is going to be taken out. Like, it was a trial pretty much. But the mom says, you know what? I want my daughter to be normal and have a normal life, normal experiences. So I'm gonna turn this thing off. And gotta remember, it's still in her daughter's body. But she just puts away the iPad and doesn't bring, or tablet, and doesn't pull it back out until the daughter's like 16 years old or something like that. In which, like a typical 16-year-old is being promiscuous and lying to her mom.
Doing cocaine.
And so her mom, you know, one night her daughter's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a movie night at so-and-so's. I'll be home. And the mom tries to call her daughter, and she's not getting, you know, called back. And so then she calls so-and-so's mom's like, hey, is my daughter over there? And they're like, nope. She calls around. Really, she doesn't know where her daughter's at. And she had a scare. The reason why she put this chip in her daughter, whatever it is because she had a scare when she was little, like her daughter got lost. And so she's super paranoid about losing her daughter. Like, that's the theme. It's like she's got to have that control. That's why she got it originally. And she's like, oh, I won't use this parts of the system, because she just wanted to make sure she could find her daughter if she ever lost her. Well, she pulls out the iPad or I keep calling it an iPad, but it's like a tablet. She pulls out the tablet she hasn't used since her daughter was young, and sees that her daughter is somewhere. And then she's like, okay, well, I'm going to look through her eyes and see what she's doing. And she is having sex with a boy. And saying, well, she's saying, you know, like, oh, some bet stuff. And no mother wants to see that, but it's the mom's fault. She shouldn't have done that.
She needs to burn that tablet.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, she saw that. Oh, look at that bunny. She saw that. But I will say, she didn't do anything or say anything about it. You know, she knew that she was in the wrong and that she shouldn't be creeping on her daughter. So she kept it inside, didn't say anything. And her daughter comes home that night and she's like, hey, Mommy, I'm real tired. I'm going to go to bed. And her mom's like, okay. And, like the next day or a couple days later, the daughter's like, hey, Mom, I'm going to stay after school and help so-and-so on a project. Well, her mom's like, I wonder if that's really going on. Well, she gets out the tablet and she looks, and her daughter is exploring for the first time with cocaine with her boyfriend, who apparently just sells a little bit of it on the side or something. And her mom sees that and flips out. She's like,
the teen drug use is a major theme in Dark as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, teens do drugs. I mean, that's the time where they.
I didn't do, like, that's like what's funny to me is like I drank a little bit, but I didn't do any drugs when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, but also you got to think, kids living in bigger cities. I mean, we're from Clarksville, Arkansas, which, I mean, there's Arkansas. But I mean, that's something that, you know, you're young, you're able, once you get to a certain age, you have a little bit of independence, you're away from your parents, you're partying, and that's an experimental time. And I think more people do drugs in college, I would say, because you are a lot of times away from your parents and in this different social time in your life. But yeah, anyway, so this daughter, you know, she does cocaine and her mom like flips out. She goes to that boy. She's like, you never see my daughter again. And if she comes to you, you tell her that you don't want anything to do with her. So he does. Daughter gets super depressed and like super depressed. Well, you know, remember that the mom can check all her vitals on this thing, and she gets a little alert on her tablet. And she gets an alert because her daughter is pregnant.
Damn.
Yeah. Hey, and wasn't her boyfriend the kid off of Bloodline?
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't see it? I'm pretty sure he's the son off of Bloodline. He's been in some stuff here lately. You know the son?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
you know, that was a disappointing show that we'll never do a review.
Wasn't he in It too? That boy?
I think he was one of the bullies.
He got taken. He got taken by it. If you haven't seen it,
sad.
No, it wasn't sad. But
Bloodline is not good. It could have been good.
It was okay.
Season 1 was pretty good, but season 3 was a total disappointment, and it's done. It's never coming back.
But anyway, but what she does is she puts this like morning after type pill, some sort of pill.
Just like when Colby gave his dog the medicine the other day. Just put it in the dog food.
Yeah, put it in there.
Didn't even know about it.
But she didn't know about it. She put it in her morning smoothie, and so this girl goes to school and she's throwing up, and the nurse is like, "Oh, honey, you're throwing up because of the pill you took, and it's okay. Don't be embarrassed. The baby is gone. Like, it's gonna work. Don't worry." And the daughter's like, "What? I didn't take a pill. What? I'm pregnant? Huh?"
Oh man.
And she figures out that her mom fed her that pill to abort her baby. And she basically gets upset and goes and beats her mom to almost death with that tablet thing and then runs away. And so in the end, her greatest fear came true and she lost her daughter. Good job, Jodie Foster.
I didn't even pick up that was Jodie Foster, which she does look a lot different.
Well, and also, a character she had certain, like, I think you just can make yourself look differently sometimes, as characters.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one, which is the last one in season 4 that you've seen, is Crocodile.
Crocodile.
Why was it called Crocodile?
Maybe because she, like, devours everything? I don't know.
And next to this one in my notes, put Murdering Bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically,
Murdering Bitch with a pixie cut.
This drunk guy who's an alcoholic, self-admitted later on in the episode, and what I love is the technology thing that they spun off in this episode.
Yeah, creepy as well.
Watching you, getting clips
yourself
of
in
your
trouble
memories,
because
clips from your implant in memory. But so anyway, they accidentally run over this biker. I know what you did last summer. And then they put him in a sleeping bag and put rocks in the sleeping bag and throw his ass over the cliff into the water and then chunk his bike. And then, they read about it in the paper that, he comes and finds her 3 or 4 years later and she's already married, moved on, that split up their relationship or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, hey, this lady, she hasn't been able to move on. I'm going to turn myself in and I'm going to say that you were involved or whatever." So she kills that dude. So she was basically an accomplice to that murder of when they ran over the guy, and then kills him so she doesn't ruin because she's a successful architect or archaeologist or something like this. And so she doesn't get her life ruined. She's like, "Oh, no." Well, then, the thing is the themes they play off, people always watching. There's this lady that goes around that her
So
job...
basically, yeah, she's a part of an insurance claim. The dude who got ran over by this automatic pizza truck, you can order a pizza on it.
And he's getting a settlement.
And he's getting a settlement. Yeah, he got ran over by it. There's no driver. And he's like, "I'm suing these people. They ran me over."
Bro. Google cars.
Yeah, so she's like, "Well, in order to do that, I have to see how fast it was going. I have to see if did you just run out in front of it? What happened? How fast was it going? Was it being dangerous?" So she kind of goes from one place to another, and what she does is she sets this little thing down. She has you smell something that seems familiar and listen to the
aromas.
Listen to the song from season 1, episode 2. Anyone?
Yeah, they weave that back in right here.
Is.
They play that when she's getting murdering people.
Understand. But yeah, so that song is playing, and it makes them recall, and basically it gives her a little snapshot of their memory, a little video of their memory, so she can go back and watch.
It is. It's little, I guess little clips.
Video recall.
More like a live photo. Basically, it's like snapshots, but they're little clips too. But it's not full on.
And what's crazy is they have a face recognition. So the reason why she originally started questioning this lady, who's a mass killer, who had nothing to do with the pizza truck thing, is she's just trying to get this guy his money for his pizza truck. Well, she sees this lady up in this hotel window because the murderer lady watched that happen. She does a face recognition and puts her face into a system. It tells her exactly who it is. She goes to her house and is like, "Hey, can you tell me your experience? Can I do this video recall with you?" And the woman's real hesitant at first because she just killed someone and doesn't want that to come up in her video recall because it's a big deal and she's nervous about it.
She's technically killed 2 people.
Yeah, well, she didn't.
Even she wasn't driving.
No, she
She's
wasn't
an
driving,
accomplice
but
to murder.
she is an accomplice, yeah. And so, she didn't want that to come out, but she kind of felt
And
guilty
then she
in a way.
dumped that body of the dude she murdered, and
did do that.
went to like ordered porn to cover it up. Here we are with the porn theme again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So, anyway, this...
Okay. We're back on air. We had a couple of blips. So I'm recording this podcast on my Mac, and I'm going to eventually get a digital audio recorder, is the plan, to capture all the audio. And then I also am going to be like, so not every podcast we do will be audio video, like as a matter of fact, the last two we've done have been audio. The second episode of Life Unraveled was audio. The first one was audio video. So we're still getting all our technology lined out. I ordered a few cables I'm going to need yesterday. But essentially what just happened is Google Drive came on and started syncing the file from this podcast while I was casting. And then that kind of stalled out the recording process in GarageBand, which is what I'm recording the feed from the mixer into. So... sorry about that. We're back on air. We got Cora here. She was in the middle of talking about Black Mirror. Let's see. Where were we at? We were on the...
Well, I mean, when did it shut down? We were talking about the crocodile.
Oh, yeah, the murder lady. So, I forget exactly where we were on it.
But the insurance lady, she's collecting all these memories so she can get this guy his money for getting hit by this pizza truck, and she goes to this lady's house who just killed someone, and she gets her memories, and the whole time this lady's just trying to make her mind like, okay, you saw the pizza truck, because she did see the pizza truck, but it just so happens she did a really terrible thing like at that same moment,
and then tried to watch porn to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was such a weird thing, because she was really using that as a crutch and an excuse. Like, the girl came to her house like, hey, I need to see if you have a memory of the dude getting hit by the truck. And she's like, oh, I'm all nervous, and she's acting all weird about it. And she's like, oh, I watched porn. And she's like, oh, I don't need to know about any of that, dude. Like, why are you telling me that? And it's because she's super guilt-ridden about murdering that dude and hiding his body. And she has, like, a husband and a kid, and she's, like, cleaning out the back of her car and scrubbing the seats and doing, like, all the things a murderer would do to cover things up.
So anyway, when she gets her memories, everything comes flooding out, and this insurance lady... who's really...
gets freaked out.
gets totally freaked out, as she should. She's like, I promise I'm not going to tell anyone. I forget about this whole thing. Who cares? And,
anyone.
Yeah. And so the lady goes and locks her up and beats her to death, but... with
like a piece of firewood.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Super morbid.
Super weird. And then she goes... because apparently her car is like a smart car, and she can figure out where this lady's house is. Because the lady's husband knew she was going there, and she goes to her house and kills her husband. And then upstairs, she hears like a baby cry, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I gotta kill the baby too." So not only was she an accomplice in that one, and back in her younger years, where they...
then she murdered 3 people.
Yeah.
One of which was a child.
Yeah, a baby.
Hammered dude to death in the bathtub. And then killed the baby. And the cops are like, oh, we have no idea who did it, but foreshadowing previously in the episode, it showed the husband bringing home to the insurance lady a guinea pig. And they used the same sort of technology to extract the video off the guinea pig of the lady murdering. So it's like shows this lady just being at like her was it her daughter's like music recital, like singing choir thing, and he's singing and she's just like crying, and like everybody's like clapping and singing along, and she's like crying because she just murdered a child. Freaking crazy. So
again, season 4, people are mean and bad, cruel.
Indeed. Any other comments on Crocodile?
Nope.
So episode 4, which you did not see, is called "Hang the DJ." It's this like dating reality thing. I think you would really like this episode, so you should probably watch it. I would rewatch it with you. But basically, you are like you go on these dates and share a domicile and all these things with this dating system that has like a 99.8% like perfect match. Like, and you have this pairing. It's this big social thing, and you're like in the program until you find your match. And like you hit like what the expiration date is on this like Echo Dot type of a deal, and it tells you like, okay, you are your date expires in 36 hours. So these people go on their very first date together, and it's like, oh well, in 12 hours your date's over. Well, then he goes on and gets a relationship later with somebody for like a year. Like, and he has to spend a year with this person. And I'm sure it's like that technology in other episodes where they make it seem a lot faster, because like they realize later, they become conscious that they don't remember anything before being in this dating game. And it's like a gated community basically. And he's just like, they start being like, they're both going through these relationships and they're getting paired. And as soon as like one expires, they get paired to someone else. And like they were each in love with each other. Like, but like they went on like a long time after, and then they get paired together again. So he hits like, he can't like live not knowing when the date's going to expire, because they're like, we're not going to hit the expiry date. We're going to enjoy this. We want to be together. We've missed each other. And their relationship expires or whatever. And then like they go back to the dating grind, and because he hit it early. Right. So like he hit it, and you have to hit it at the same time as your partner. So like we're going to be together for 5 years, but it went down to like an hour or something crazy because he was trying to look at it without her. And anyway, so like they end up getting in this big argument and kind of splitting up. But then it's like they both get notified that they're going to be paired. Well, then they are like, no, we're not going to be paired. We're going to beat the system and run off together. And then they realize that they're pretty much like in like an Avatar type VR augmented reality dating game where they found each other and they went through this. It's like kind of like a game. But I thought it was kind of cool. And then that was Hang the DJ. I think you should watch that one. The other one was this thing called Metalhead with robotic dogs. What's crazy about this is that technology pretty much does exist. This crazy dog that like chases this lady, like they're, and it can launch these little things that like burrow in your skin that you have to dig out that are like tracking devices. Yeah. So it reminded me of watching Jocko and Joe Rogan, like not super recently, but within the last 6 months.
Oh,
where,
those things?
Yeah, like they can like run, and like one like loses a leg, it can still get around. It's like these crazy robotic dogs like ruling society for chasing people down. I don't know really what the whole premise was, but it had kind of that militaristic type future technology. And then there's another one called Black Museum. Did you watch any of that one with the doctor that like he gets this thing to where like he can touch a patient and feel their pain and like diagnose what's going on with them, and he gets like addicted to the process. They like put this thing on their head, and he can like touch and like, oh, they've got appendicitis. I felt that 150 times. I know exactly. Yeah. Well, what's crazy is it like he stays jacked in too long to somebody, and like it becomes an addiction, and like he develops like a need to be able to do it, and it like starts ruining his relationship and stuff. And like they like you're playing on it, they're like, not only does like he could like feel what his partner was feeling, so like he was like feeling both ends of it, like when they would have sex and stuff. Crazy. But anyways, he ends up getting like an addict essentially to this, and becomes in a vegetative state and like loses his whole life. And I don't know, it was a super weird episode in which this lady stops in the desert to go to this black museum that has all this neurotechnology there, and yeah, pretty wild. So I guess that wraps it up with a review of Black Mirror seasons 1 through 4.
All the spoilers.
After the show, Netflix Originals playlist. Check it out on Life Unraveled podcast. So what'd you think of your first podcast? Only one minor hiccup, so I'm glad that we were able to bounce back from the recording stopping.
Yeah, that would have been detrimental if it.
That's why I'm looking forward to when those cables get here. No, we're still going.
Oh.
So, yeah. Well, okay. I guess that wraps it up. So, any closing remarks there, Cora?
Godless and dark.
Godless and Dark. That's coming next on After the Show. So be sure you check it out. We're going to be
both Netflix originals.
Those are both Netflix originals.
Colby's
also,
your HBO guy. I'm your Netflix original.
We're going to be doing a season 1 review of Westworld, a season 2 theories, and then we'll do season 2 episode breakdowns of Westworld. We're going to do a seasons 1 through 7 breakdown and review of Game of Thrones, as well as a season 8 theories episode on After the Show. So on those HBO shows, definitely my friend Colby is going to be breaking those down with me, and Cora will be breaking down Dark and Godless on a future episode of After the Show. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.